Welcome everyone. We have finalized the games that we want in each category. The winner has been decided, and we're going to leave it to the last, so keep watching because we need the ad roll. And yeah, we'll begin with... Which category shall we begin with? Should we go with Best in Design? Was We Live on a Turtle. Let me quickly put it up on... Okay, so, Best in Design, We Live on a Turtle. Thoughts? One thing you enjoyed, one thing you could improve on the game.
I really enjoyed. There is no way I would ever have thought about putting a game on a turtle. It was really novel idea. It was really nice use of the theme. It was so it was a really fun idea. There was really sort of clear aesthetics. Really nice idea. Out there, but not so out there that it was somehow weird. I don't know. I had a lot of questions about living on a turtle, but some of them felt like they were answered.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so mechanically it was very fluid. The drag and drop was responsive. It did what it needed to do. Descriptions on all the weapons were clear. I learned what each of them did just by reading them. That helped a lot. But very, very easy to pick up, I'd say.
Yeah, and for me, I just liked how it was a really fun twist on tower defense, like mixing city building elements, and the tower defense bit with, having to select which towers you want to go where, and obviously with the addition of the limited space into the mix, I found it was a really enjoyable having to sort of cost analysis of like, oh, do I really need this extra farm, or should I add more firepower to my turtle? So I thought it was a really nice little blend for it. My only thing was that I felt like I needed a bit more of a challenge. I felt like once you sort of worked out a bit of a meta, so like, oh, I could go 2 farms for every coal mine or whatever, you could quickly just make your turtle a bit too safe. And I felt like it needed a bit more of a challenge in regards
I really wanted midway through for the turtle to suddenly move to the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then realise that I'd left an entire underside, like, unprotected, and then have to work that out. And so more threat to the turtle, and more challenge that, if I grow it, will that cut down something? What will that do to my resources? Because it was very easy to stockpile resources. And...
I felt like weapons could be fleshed out a bit further. Outside of damage, there isn't that much difference between each weapons. For instance, like their ranges, it would be nice if they had like distinct ranges, especially like the magic tower. That would be nice if that was like an AoE attack. So playing around with ranges, having so that different weapons maybe are AoE, that'd be good, especially since in the later waves there's so many enemies coming at you, so that single target damage becomes a bit weak, and having like group area control would be good.
All right, so let's move on to the next game. Next one, Best in Enjoyment, Spellblade. Monroe, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah. So out of all of them, it was very mechanically ambitious. There was a lot of depth in the game. I'd like to shout out the replayability too, especially for Game Jam games. You only had a week to make this, and there was a lot of depth. I feel like I could play this game for minutes or in hours on end. It really captured that roguelike essence, which I feel like it was trying to go. So congratulations to that.
Yeah, I love that aha moment of where you first get to the inventory. And I thought that was like, oh, okay, I'm fighting. Oh no, this is really cool. And that inventory system, that is such a nice aesthetic, nice idea, nicely presented. So yeah, that moment where you went, oh, this is how they've used the theme, and this is what they've done. And yeah, so although I wasn't great at managing to collect things to put into it, I really appreciated how that inventory would have built up.
Now, I will build up on that because I did end up playing the game probably the longest for about 45 minutes. So my main thing that I really enjoyed about this was just once you got the gameplay loop, you're like, how far can I take this? And for what you did in a week, there was a lot of depth to it. I was able to manage to flesh out a build that was just rapid fire, high damage, and you had a shield to defend anything. So it's it felt like the game had some thought in terms of what playstyles you could have. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. That's just the gameplay loop was just once you got it, you just somehow got addicted. You're like, oh wait, what? Why has it been half an hour?
Yeah.
Yes, that was pretty good. In terms of improvements, my one would be that even though that the inventory system is really good, I feel like for me it needed to be a bit more prevalent near the start, because I felt like when we first started, we were like, oh, what, where's the theme? It didn't feel like it was the right fit. But then when the inventory showed up, we were like, oh, now we get where this comes in. Now we see everything else just sort of clicked. So for me, having that bit first, so say for example, you open a chest to give you X amount of items and you have to make a basic build, I feel like that would have been a better introduction to the game rather than just jumping straight into the actual combat of it.
I think of all of them, it felt like it was almost two separate games and almost with two separate art styles. Like if polish I'd want to see is actually marrying those art styles together, sort of working a bit more on the mechanics and the aesthetics of the sort of dungeon room fighty bit. Because there wasn't, the inventory bit worked really well.
Yeah, I'd say definitely look at the level design of the game. For how fleshed out like the game mechanics are, it'd be nice if the level design was also as fleshed out as that was. In like how you could improve, maybe look towards adding obstacles or like death traps or like pits, because I mean that would flesh out the game's like the level design a lot if that was there, I'd say.
Now let's move over to best in polish, which is Rover and Out. Nia, do you want to start on this one as well?
Yeah, so I loved that the muted color palette. It was just so aesthetically pleasing right from the offset. Once I'd worked out how to load the next bit of the loading screen, but it was really beautiful, and I loved those sort of muted colors all the way through. So it was really polished in that sort of way, and I think as an aesthetic and as a style, I love the text. I like the colors. Yeah, it was beautiful and really that lovely retro sort of look to it. Really well executed.
I guess with me, I'd say it was also very easy to pick up too. The controls were like quite, I'd say, refined regarding only needing to use the arrow keys. I like that a lot. I'd say the puzzle design was also good. It had this mix between challenging and also at times a bit frustrating, but I'd say that's good for puzzle games too. I'd say for stuff I'd improve regarding that, I'd say controls. It would be nice if you could have an option to clear your input sequence. That'd help a lot with quality and life stuff, because say if I accidentally press an input and the only way to go back is to re-input the entire sequence again to override it. And also, that'd make it less frustrating with regarding the controls.
Yeah, I'd have liked to maybe some simpler levels just to start off so you can get used to the controls. I marooned many a little robot and I felt very sad for the amount of robots I've littered that moon with. I'm very sorry. But yeah, it's just something that would have eased you into, oh, okay, this is it. And then you get to something very complicated with lots of crevices and you're like, okay, I know how to do this now.
On that similar note as well, I was going to add in path prediction. So I feel like for people who may not be able to like visualize the path well, or maybe you didn't understand the direction that your robot was going, because again, it could have misread, you could have misread a block or so, because again, it's a grid system. Just talk about like accessibility for different types of players. It might be difficult for some to distinguish certain blocks. Just to make it really obvious where your robot's going to end up going, might have been nice to have some form of path showing where the robot's going to end up. That way, players who may have difficulty seeing, like, things close together, they won't miscalculate a move or something like that. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it's a very finished product, I'd say, in terms of polish too.
Very polished.
Like the music was good, the art style was consistent. It felt like a complete package, like everything like married together. So that's like the 2 cents regarding polish.
No, I mean, hence the reason why we've given you guys this like category, because I think you guys managed to, because this is the first time we've ever run this category. I feel like you guys are a pretty like solid example, if not like a really great example of what a polish game should feel like, which is something that from the experience, from the minute you start to the minute you inevitably get a lose state or a win state, depending on how far you got.
Many lose states.
You can still get involved and you feel immersed in that project, and you feel like, oh yeah, this is something you can continue like enjoying. Basically, you had a really good identity for the project and you were consistent with it. Like the color palette didn't just randomly change, the art style was consistent, the text was consistent. But again, I feel like for me the main thing is just accessibility for either players who may not be able to distinguish some of the pixel art fonts or some of the like path prediction stuff, which is obviously, again, depends on who's playing it. But overall, those would be my thoughts. So nice. Very, very polished game. Next one up is best in creativity, which is minimal movers.
Ooh.
Monroe, do you want to start for this one?
Yeah, I'd like to give a special props to the controller support of the game. I'm a massive controller support nerd, so if I see someone implementing controller support in a game. Like, you know what, props, especially for a game jam. You only had a week to do that. So
yeah,
like, massive congrats to having controller support, making it feel fluid, and if anything, the optimal way to play the game. I'd like to think.
I want to congratulate them on making a realistic, frustrating furniture moving game, which feels like a lived experience. That I've been there. I've tried to move sofas around places. Yeah, so it was a really nice take on the theme. It wasn't an immediate like until you get slightly further into it and realize what limited space you have to try and pivot a sofa around furniture. It was really nice. It was really. I liked the fact that it was in an everyday normal setting. I did rage quit it. I don't think I was the only one who rage quit it. And then thought about it and then went back and then relieved that I did drop the sofa into its landing zone and I was done. But it was great and I really enjoyed. I loved the fact there was a path, a choice, and it was clear. One is shorter but harder. One is longer but might be a bit easier. Wasn't that much easier, but I'm guessing. But I love the fact you gave that and it was clear. So yeah, really lovely design on the game and the theme, and really nicely sort of presented as well.
I mean, yeah, to add on to the theme, because again, I feel like this one, we were discussing how to describe how you guys achieved this theme, but I feel like the way we ended up going is that it executed the theme so well and embodied the aspect and the feeling of having a limited space so much like better than the other games. So I feel like, again, because it feels so visceral. If you've ever moved house, or if you ever moved into uni, or if you ever had anything where you're like, your dad's woken you up on a Saturday morning to move fucking furniture in the living room, like this is like it felt almost like a canon event that everyone's gone through. And it's just like, I don't want to be doing this, but and again, through the context of a party game as well, I can see how this could flourish into something like bigger for that sort of regard. Because again, playing this with someone else would emulate that feeling of having to tell like your partner or someone that's living with you, whoever's helping you move, that you're like, we've actually got to communicate. So I feel like you guys have a lot that you can like flesh out with it more to make that communication aspect like be a selling point of the game. Like with most of those party games are 2-player, but yeah, I feel like you guys managed to basically hit the nail on the head for that one.
Improvements?
Yeah, on my end, it was mainly just like color outlines for lifting or crouching, because I feel even though you guys had some indication, I feel like having some outlines for what you can lift over or what you couldn't would have made it a little bit clearer at times, because I feel not that it wasn't inconsistent, it was just a bit hard to tell at times what could be fully lifted or what was fully like in it infinitely tall. It
wasn't clear what was something, what height the things in the house were. And I think that's the same point, and that's what I had to go away and think about. Maybe if I do this, maybe I could lift it over that, but it wasn't clear that I could do that, and if I hadn't, I wouldn't have completed it. But
I'd say for me, what took me out of what disengaged me was the idea I can move pots around. I felt like if I could lug this massive couch, it'd be nice if I could lug this pot to specifically to the side, just so I can complete this little puzzle over here. But it'd be nice. I understand it might like clash with the creative vision of the game where you can only move a couch, but it would be nice to see if you could move smaller objects. It could turn the game into something where you now need to move everything around you, and that's where the frustration comes from, where it's like, I've placed this pot here, now I can't move there. That'd be good.
Yeah, no, agreed. I feel like, just needed again, it's a very different direction that you guys may have wanted to go for, but both ways would have worked either way. But I feel like with the type of maze you guys had, I feel, because during the stream when we were doing it, you could get soft lock quite easily. So I think that that's probably why having, being able to move a little pot around may have helped with getting soft locked, or if I spend a bit more time like designing the puzzle so they could be solved in multiple ways themselves. So not just having like a separate, like, separate room, but like a certain way that you could like push a door out the way or push something out the way. Not necessarily like pick up and move, but just little things to give some difference or some extra level of depth to it, rather than just having to go only one way once. So basically, in terms of replayability, once you found out the answer to the puzzle, there's not really much point of coming back to it other than try out the other route. It's basically what the other point we had. So I feel like that's where this thing of moving the boxes around could add an extra layer of challenge to it that could make it a lot more fun for some people. Overall, again, great little game, and just made everyone want to die inside when we were like, oh my god, we've literally done this in real life. So props to capturing that essence, because that's again, a hard thing to capture in a game. Now we're moving on to the winner, which we can do a little drum roll. I'll do like a little on the mic. All right. So I mean, you guys know what the top 5 is. It's not really it's not really hidden anymore. Yeah, high stakes. Let's talk about high stakes. Who wants to start with high stakes? Give a little something that they enjoy.
Well, for another lived-in experience, I really enjoyed it, but I also, because I've been in charge of a barbecue where suddenly there were vegetarians, it made me genuinely laugh out loud when I had to suddenly put vegetable kebabs and things on. It was really. I play a lot of food games. I play a lot of cozy, sort of fun, bright, cheerful, summery games. It hit that nail on the head exactly. So it was a really nice use of the theme. It was limited space, really literally taken, but really, nicely presented. So I really enjoyed it, and it was the game I thought about, I've gone back to, and it's the game I've talked to other people about who could also immediately understand it.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a very fresh spin on a game that I feel like everyone has played before. That's Tetris. Game design wise, is nice when a game jam game references like a game that everyone already understands, because then it's like, oh, this game's very easy to pick up. I already know what I'm doing. So I really love that idea, especially with the idea of these Tetris pieces are now food, and I need to grill them, and once they're grilled, I need to serve them to people. That's very fresh, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Spellblade did something similar as well, which I forgot to mention earlier. The Tetris type of it made it so much. Once you understood how to play that game, made it really simple. Yeah. Same with here, like same concept, taking something that everyone knows how to play and giving it your own spin on it. Yeah, made it super fun. But yeah, I also really love the humor. The accessibility was pretty good, and the amount of content you could have, like, again, really easy to replay because you can see how much longer you do. But in how this differed into the other games, it felt, again, it was just that enjoyment of just, grilling food. It was it's a concept that everyone knows how to do, and just you guys executed in a way that just felt right. It's hard to describe, but it hit a spot which I was like, damn, yeah, I could do this all day. So yeah, in terms of like improvements, like there wasn't really anything technical, I don't feel, other than I think Monroe had a point with marketing, but I think technically everything was good technically. I think it was just one point in terms of how you guys were marketing.
My game mechanics gripe of if the words or the way you describe a game makes it seem like there's a game mechanic and that game mechanic is not there, then I'm like, I'm disappointed. I mean, that leads me to the improvement, I guess, of the grill could have more depth. I was waiting for like a grill pun, but I can't think of one. But something as simple as having some of the spots in the grill cook slower than other spots. Also, even with the idea of a perfect grill, maybe having the players have to like rotate food just so it like cooks faster as well. Like how you're meant to flip food grilling. As I've never actually used a barbecue grill in my life before, but yes, maybe like explore how you can make the grill more fun as this. Just not like a place you can place food.
I think the only thing I would like to have seen, or I would have expected to have seen, I think, was actually plating up specific foods for people. It felt very easy just to keep going and feed people, and I didn't really feel there was much threat to it. So some elements of threat, even if still keeping it light and lighthearted, would have been sort of elevated it slightly. But otherwise, it was a really excellent game to have done in a week. We're picking at things at this point. It was a really solid, playable game. I could see it on the Switch. I could play it on a mobile. Yeah. It was a really nice. I've gone back to it. It's excellent work.
Yeah, that genuinely hit. Like, you guys managed to get pretty much all the categories to a really high level in all accounts. Again, me elaborating on the actual challenge bit. I don't know how many references you guys use for like food-related games, but I think Monroe suggested Cook, Surf, Delicious. I was talking about Overcooked. I know Nia has like a list of games that you guys could potentially take experience from. So I think it's genuinely the direction you guys had, fun, but I feel like you guys needed like just that one little bit to literally make this like a ready-to-ship game, because you're literally pretty much there, I would say. Like, if you add like a couple more bits, you guys have got the marketing language for it. Yeah. Like, well, to some degree.
I was gonna say my burning piece of feedback. Please add sound into the food.
Yes. Yeah, sounds to food.
I was, because when it comes to me playing games, sometimes I like to expect mechanics to be there when they're not there. I'm like, oh, I'm a bit. But yeah, please implement like sound. Play around with more sounds, please, because it just helps with like player engagement. It just means that the player can maximize grilling food. But yeah, that's me.
Nice. Sweet. I think that's...
It made us all hungry as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. You guys did a great job on making that food look pretty delicious. Yeah, again, the reason what you guys want, just managed to get everything looking polished, completed. So, yeah. Massive congrats to you guys and everyone else. Like, again, all the other games, you guys were close in a lot of different areas. So, yeah, your categories... like are there to help hopefully get you guys to see what you guys did really good, and hopefully you guys have got some improvements you can do to not necessarily things that were bad about the game, it's just things to take your game to the next level. Please always take this feedback as just like, if you want to get better, if you want to make this game like something that people would either buy in the future, or if you want to create more things around it, just take this feedback as like literally what you can do to either improve yourself as devs, or just something you can do for your next game. And for anyone who didn't get to the top 5, who is just watching this video, please take whatever you've learned from this and apply to your own games for the next game jam. Because again, the more you practice, the more you add these things on, the more people you see people like fail in certain aspects but do really well. You can then combine all that knowledge to hopefully make a game that either, you know, wins game jams, or hopefully at one point manages to launch whatever indie or, you know, mainstream, whatever goal you have with your game industry and gaming career that you want. Huge congratulations. One more round of applause for everyone. Thanks to everyone who took part. We had some very fun games. Thank you all for joining again. Thank you all to the judges. And before we leave, I forgot to tell you guys about this, but you guys want to give yourselves a little shout out, a little promo, a little like shameless plug as to what you're up to. Basically, think like hot ones. Like, what are you guys doing? What projects can you shout out without breaking any NDAs?
Yeah, do you wanna go first? I think?
We have the Ultimate Edition of Dead Island 2 coming out soon. So there's a bunch of stuff and quality of life things that are coming out with that. But yeah, so that's been, that's immensely fun to work on. It's so much fun. The conversations you end up having when you work on a zombie game like that. You can't really repeat them, but they're fantastic. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun with a lovely group of people making a truly horrific game, which is just so much fun. Yeah. So if you haven't checked it out already, check out the Ultimate Edition. That'll be that with all the DLCs and all the zombie things you can do to zombies is just impressive, but also disturbing. But yeah.
I mean, I guess regarding me, work stuff, Planet Coaster 2 releasing in November 6th. Please, it's a very enjoyable game. I have an underwater theme just to advertise that. Personal industry stuff. Just follow me on LinkedIn. If you need any game design advice, in any industry advice, please feel free to message me. I'd love to help.
Same thing. Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. I'm really happy to help. I spent a lot of first part of my career at universities helping people like get jobs in the industry, develop their skills and their things. So I'm always happy to help and talk through things. And I love game jams, and I really love the fact that these, props again to Luigi for running these kind of things. They take a lot of organizing in the background, so it's your moderators and your community take part in them because they're such precious things.
Plus, congratulations to anyone who's submitted anything, because submitting is half the battle.
And even if you didn't get that far, that you started it and you had a play and you had a thought about what you could do, just keep at it.
We're all already in game designers, game animators, game programmers. We're already game developers. The
main thing is, as long as you learn something in this jam, be it team management, which is a recurring theme in every jam, just learning how to manage people.
Yes.
Also, if you're a producer, even more so if you're looking to get into any role, or you end up just being like, oh, shall I produce it? I've got to manage and babysit people. The main thing out of all these jams, because again, the reason why we don't do them fully competitive is because we feel like that'll detract from the essence of what improving and expressing what you want to do. Is as long as you keep learning, keep expressing, keep experimenting, that's all we want you to do. As you saw today, we had some games that no one in here would have thought oh, this is a thing that I didn't expect. That's what we want to see a little bit more of. It's just people experimenting and taking a little bit of risk. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As long as you guys can, like these videos or whatever other game jams you may be taking part of. As long as you can get some feedback that you can actively work on or do something to keep improving, that's the main thing. Just don't stop learning. Take whatever you can to learn. That's the main thing.
100%.